In this video we are going to analyze everything Takuya Yagami did in the series, which makes him the strongest character in the series after Ayano Koji. If you are new to the channel, subscribe for more Classroom of the Elite analysis, so without wasting time let's get started. Before Year 2, that is Volume 0, as a student of the White Room's 5th generation, Yagami excelled in all parts of the program, as he could even be titled to be the masterpiece of the 5th generation, in his own right. With the introduction of V0, while it is true that the 5th generation's level in terms of toughness is 4 compared to the 4th generation's level 10, Yagami excelled so much in his generation to the point that he's able to easily obliterate Ichika if he wanted, who was considered the second strongest in the 5th. This makes it clear that Yagami's limit isn't actually level 4, if he excelled so much in the 5th generation, and is able to absolutely crush the second strongest with barely any difficulty, which shows that Yagami's feats in Year 2 imply that he would succeed at higher levels for the White Room training, and just calling him level 4 fodder is inherently disgrace to him. In Year 2 Volume 1, Yagami is the mystery White Room student that Tsukishiro talks to in the prologue of Year 2 V1. In the prologue, Tsukishiro shows him a file of all of the 156 second-year students, and he is able to immediately memorize all of the student names, date of birth, past exam grades, and many more in few minutes, which showcase his insane learning speed and memory capacity. Later in Year 2 V1, in Yagami's first official introduction, he's able to easily take control of the conversation, and introduce himself in a manner that makes even Ayano Koji unsure of whether he's the White Room enforcer. Most notably feat here is that he's able to gaslight Kushida into thinking that he was from her middle school, which proves that he memorized her file completely and played with her insecurities about her past, so Kushida is forced and manipulated into being his tool, and working closely with him in the hopes that he won't tell anyone about her past. He does this within mere moments, and does it in such a genuine manner, that makes everyone certain that he's just a cute little underclassman of hers. Now we come to Year 2 Volume 2, Yagami effectively constructs a perfect impression of being an innocent Kohai, which was able to fool nearly everyone in the school, with little to no effort given his exceptional interpersonal and social skills learned from the White Room. By Year 2 Volume 2, he has complete control of Class B, and while everyone knows of him, they are fooled into misreading his true intentions. This can also be treated as a manipulation feat as well. And in later part of Year 2 V2, Yagami purposefully kept a meek and cowardly attitude to manipulate Hosen. Hosen values bold people, like Ichika and Nanase, and not trash like Yagami and Osamu. He used this to make Hosen look aggressive, and cause all the classes to cooperate together against him as the common enemy. Ensuring that all classes cooperate will help him use them for his true plans. And in the same volume later while talking with Ayano Koji and Kushida. At that moment Ayano Koji initially thought that Yagami could be a candidate for the White Room enforcer, however, he wonders and is doubtful that Yagami's interpersonal and social skills could really be a product of someone in the White Room. Essentially, he can't get a read on Yagami. I repeat, Ayano Koji, the person who has the best observation skills in the verse cannot get a read on Yagami. He also states that he wouldn't want Yagami to be his opponent. Out of anyone in ANHS, this shows his deception feat really well. Before the beginning of the Year 2 Island exam, Yagami is the one who subtly organized the alliance of the first years for the upcoming uninhabited island exam, but in reality, he uses the alliance as a foundation to mislead, misdirect, and manipulate others during the special exam. This is what makes Takuya such an excellent strategist. He utterly obfuscates situations, misleads, and makes others feel like they understand what's going on, when they really don't know what's actually happening, which is one of the biggest manipulation feat in the series. He manipulated Tsubaki into creating her plan which Yagami predicted would fail, and it did. This situation controlled by Yagami forced Koji to use his connections like Sakayanagi, so that Yagami could make plans to deal with them and so he could understand Koji's thought process. Now we come to Year 2 Volume 3, Tsubaki questions and grills Yagami, on his plans and his connection to Kushida, attempting to blackmail him so he can work with her, and become his tool so that the island exam can work under her supervision. In reality though, Yagami had complete control of the conversation at the time, and as we will see it later, he let Tsubaki interrogate him for the sake of his plans. Tsubaki was completely fooled by his act of being in distress, during his interrogation with Utomiya restraining him. It's one of the many forms of deception we'll see in Takuya from now on. This can also be treated as a manipulation feat since he subtly encouraged others to continue acting in their predetermined manners. Honestly, this is one of the craziest prediction feats in the series. On the 5th day of the exam, Yagami told Kushida that Tsubaki made him talk about her past. But their meeting happened on the 6th day of the exam, so when Yagami told Kushida about it, it hadn't even happened yet. This means that Yagami predicted his entire conversation with Tsubaki a day before it happened, and he acted perfectly when it happened. Yagami predicted everything, from dialogue to mannerisms, to Tsubaki's whole strategy of blackmailing and intimidating him to work with her. This means that Yagami knew everything before it happened, and he was casually pulling the strings, while maintaining his mask of a morally righteous person, that would do anything for his classmates. Later in that volume, he also predicted Nanase's fight with Koji, several days in advance and made Kushida follow them. Now let's talk about the next feat of Yagami, the controversial and his only blunder move he did which results in his defeat. He set up a bait to test Koji's deductive abilities when he pushed multiple second years, which also created a bait that Nanase and by extension Ruin fell for. He wasn't pushing people off cliffs for no reason, it was quite literally to bait Koji to see who he was dealing with. I will say that it was a very risky bait because if Koji was smart enough, which he really was, he could have absolutely used the bait as evidence to expel him, which he really did. Now we have come to the conclusion of Year 2 Volume 3, Yagami would have been able to do a serious damage to Ayano Koji. In Year 2 V3 had his strategy of using Kushida to film his fight with Nanase gone through. He also predicted that Ichika would come in between. Then again, Yagami later implied that he was merely toying around in the island exam and wasn't completely serious about expelling Ayano Koji right there and then. The whole purpose of the special exam, in his eyes, was to test the school rules, and see how all grade levels operated so he could create a stronger plan for the future. Now we come to Year 2 Volume 4, the climax of the uninhabitated island, when Arisu sent Kido to find out the mastermind of first years, who carried out all the plans to expel Ayano Koji during the uninhabited island exam. Kido ran into Utomiya who was sent by Yagami to stop him. Later when Tsubaki found out that Utomiya is unintentionally fighting a second year, and called him, Utomiya's phone slipped from his pocket, and revealed Tsubaki Sakurako as their leader to Kido. So when Kido turned back happily and left Utomiya, after getting to know the info about the mastermind of the first years, that it was Tsubaki, Utomiya then called Yagami and said to him that the plan worked. The plan was to counter Arisu, by fooling her into her believing that Tsubaki was the mastermind of the first years, which was Yagami's plan all along to counter Arisu and let Sakayanagi target Tsubaki. Instead of finding him as the mastermind of all first years, he outsmarted Sakayanagi easily. So he set up a countermeasure using Utomiya as a tool, effectively outsmarting and fooling her. He also used Nanase to deceive Ruin into thinking Utomiya was behind the Year 2 V3 incident with Komiya. Later in the same volume, Yagami also sent a letter to Horikita anonymously, that warned her about Ayano Koji potentially getting expelled in Block I2, but why would he do that? The answer is that Horikita would try to go to I2, meaning that there would be a witness to Tsukashiro's actions of attacking Ayano Koji, which is what Tsukashiro had to prevent. That's why he tried to pull away students from I2, and checked if there is anyone in the area beforehand. Yagami would have gotten Tsukashiro fired, as Horikita would be the evidence needed to expose his actions of trying to assault Kiyotaka. This would allow Takuya free rein to decide how quickly, or slowly he could expel Ayano Koji should Tsukashiro be fired. He also used this opportunity to test whether Ichika would intercept Horikita's path, prevent information about Ayano Koji, and the White Room from coming out by putting her between a dilemma, whether to protect her idol, or do nothing. He already suspected that Ichika may hold special feelings, and a type of adoration towards Ayano Koji, so manipulating Horikita would be a good way to proceed with his goals, and gather information. This I2 block manipulation of Horikita is also important for his future strategy. Ultimately, during the whole island exam, Yagami toyed around with everyone and predicted countless actions with ease. He only made one risky mistake, but he was able to predict and manipulate all of the first years including Tsubaki, Nanase, Utomiya, and Hosen with ease, as well as toy around with Arisu, Ruin, Kushida, and most of the other second years as well. All of this while keeping his persona as an innocent little Kohai the same. Now we come to Year 2 Volume 4.5, Yagami reveals that in hand-to-hand combat in the White Room, he has never lost to Ichika once and even laughs about the possibility of her winning in a fight. So Yagami scales highly above Ichika in terms of strength and striking power, and this is the same Ichika to who Horikita compares her striking strength to that of Hosen. This means that Yagami's strength and attack potency, despite having a small body, he can defeat Hosen easily. Yagami was also so fast that he actually speed blitzed Ichika in their confrontation, moving so fast that even when completely focused on him, she wasn't able to react to him grabbing her. As shown before, Ichika is extremely fast and agile, so this scales Yagami's speed and agility to be much higher than Ichika's, whom both Ibuki and Horikita team up and train together under Koji and still can't defeat her. From this we can easily deduce that how much powerful Yagami really was. Now we come to the Year 2v5, that is unanimous vote exam. Here Yagami was manipulating Kushida from behind the scenes, to make her expel Ayano Koji. Here, he deduced that the final question would be about to expel a classmate beforehand, just from hearing that the questions are compulsory to solve, which asides from Koji no one predicted. And in the Volume 6, he did anything because he was going to carry his big plan in the next volume, that is Cultural Festival. Now we finally come to the final volume of Yagami, that is Year 2 Volume 7. Here Yagami was going to carry out his biggest plan he was cooking, but before it could happen, Ayano Koji striked him. He defeats him with the infamous love letter strategy. About the love letter strategy analysis in detail and why Yagami couldn't do anything, I have made 2 special dedicated videos on it, so check it out, as it is very much important to understand Takuya Yagami. So this concludes our today's video. If you enjoyed this analysis and want more Classroom of the Elite content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, your support keeps the analysis coming. Share your thoughts in the comments, how your perspective about Yagami changed after this video. As always, stay tuned for more captivating insights from Classroom of the Elite. Until next time, take care.